Alright, boys and girls, welcome back. Thanks for joining me again. Today I'm going to tie for you one of our local favorites. I'm assuming that this is a rather well-known across the country here, the Walt's worm, or Sexy Walt's worm rather. A couple different variations, that you can do. You can always change colors, change bead size, change the hook shape, all kinds of different things on there. I came across some new materials and, I wanted to give it a shot. What we have here that we're looking at is a size 14 hook. What we have here is fire hole, size 7/18. It's a little bit longer than most of the stuff I fish with, but it seems to work well for this pattern. It gives me the right proportion. I have a 4mm or 4.5mm fire hole olive bead, that's tungsten. The new material that I got, it's actually a dry fly yarn by Semperfli. It's called dry fly poly yarn. I don't know if anybody's seen their dirty bug yarn, but it's very similar. And what I liked about it is that the yarn itself has multiple colors in it, and that's kind of what they're pushing it for. When you're digging up bugs in the creek and comparing, looking for colors, things along that line, no bug is exactly the same. So that's kind of, what their premise is here. And what I've done is combine two different colors to try to get the look that I want. You can always change the ribbing that's on it, which what I'm using here is just Flash of Blue Mirage. And for the collar, to make it easy, got Semperfli, that gel core microfits. This is in fluorescent pink. And what the two colors that I picked here, one is like an olive color, which is this color, and I combined it with this little bit of orange and brown, and essentially just take two little pieces and we'll twist them up once we get them on the hook. And let's get right into it. So we'll put this hook in the vise. Again, I'm still trying to fill my box with some heavier flies. The water's been about perfect around here lately. As far as the thread goes, what I just have is some Semperfli Nano Silk. This is the olive. Don't really need a lot of strength for this bug, but that's what I had on the spool. So what we're going to do with this hook, the Walt's worm, is a pretty basic pattern. You see a lot of hairs here. You see, darker patterns. Essentially the same type of bug, but no tail. We have some flash in there. That's why they're calling it the Sexy Waltz, to give it a collar and a little bit of flash with the marabou, not marabou, flashabou, sorry. So let's go ahead and get this started here. I'm gonna wrap this on. I'm gonna have some help today. We're gonna have Obi-Wan cut this off for me.
Hello there.
Line this back up to the front. The first two things that I'm going to put on are the yarn that I'm going to use. And I just lay them more or less on top of the hook here. Secure them with a couple wraps. Tighten back. Try to get it inside the bead there. I don't really like to go the whole way into the bend when I'm tying these on. When you're looking at the overall length, of these caddis, which essentially is what this is in the creek, you don't see them much longer, than a ½ inch or so. Next thing I'm going to wrap on is a flashabou. Tie that in. And I am leaving a little bit of room up there behind the bead, just because we want to get the collar with that Semperfli microfritz on there. I'm going to go ahead and put a little whip finish in there. Now, when we're tying this off, you can do this however is the easiest for you, but you can kind of see what that does when you twist it up. I've seen guys use dubbing loops, all kinds of different ways to go about and get that color separation. As you're wrapping this on here, I try to wrap it kind of loose. And then when I wrap the Flashabou on, I'll wrap that a little bit tighter. Kind of squishes down into the bug, so to speak. Always make sure that you are twisting this as you're wrapping it on, because you'll find that since you're going towards the eye of the hook and you're wrapping it that way, it will naturally untwist. So you can see what a good color that is and how that looks there before we put the flash in it. We're just gonna tighten this off. Couple wraps over the back, couple wraps over the front. We'll have Obi-Wan help us out on this.
Hello there.
I always like to go back over when I cut this kind of yarn. This yarn was designed for dry flies. It's not supposed to absorb a lot of water. I don't fish a lot of dry flies. I just like the color schemes. All right, so when we put on this Flashabou, I try to make it a little tight so that the spacing is consistent and you can see the little ridges that that's creating. Get that up to the front. Tie that off. Okay, next up, we're going to tie in some of this microfritz. This is a really great product. I'm using it for everything, from legs to bodies to collars mostly. It's just trying to keep the turns down, and if you use like ice dub or something like that, which you know I do also, if you just want a hint of something, this is a little bit easier to wrap with. All right, 2 or 3 turns on that. Wrap that over the top a couple times, and then in front a couple times to give you a little separation between the bead and the collar. Trim that off. Try to stack that up a little bit. Whip finish. Cut off the thread, and there you go. This Flashabou is a little bit wider than most tinsels, but I wanted something that was going to give me a little more pink to match that collar. I tried a couple other variations here. This is a blue bead. The yarn that I'm using on this is like a blue, and they have a gray in there also. And the tinsel that's on this one is just a little bit, I think it's called light purple. So you have that type of variation just for something different. Here is more of an orange type of a color with again, a light purple and a white bead. Make these whatever you want. You know. And here is that blue and silver with a pink collar and a white bead. So mess around with it. Hopefully you catch some fish. Everybody seems to have luck with them around here, especially this time of year. You know, with the water being a little bit up, a little bit murky, that flash seems to help a lot. So thanks for stopping in, and we will see you guys soon. Thank you.